Hi guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Nobody Cares. I'm Ethan.
And this is the Val. And before we begin today, we just wanted to uh, thank you for. Oh my god, it's so awkward.
Sometimes the best thank yous are the most awkward ones because they're the most sincere.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
We
true. So we
sincerely
sincerely,
thank
awkwardly
you
thank you.
for listening to all of our mindless rants so far.
So we were thinking, you've heard all the things we think nobody cares about. So now we would like to hear from you.
Are there some things that you guys saw that was cool or interesting that you think that nobody cares about? Drop us a comment or leave us a message on the website. All the links are in the description below on top. I don't know.
We accept all crazy suggestions. Just go for it.
Yeah,
Go wild.
Go wild. Let us know. And if you don't want to go to the website, just pigeon mail us or
show up at our house.
Yeah, or text our mom. That's fine too. But yeah, so we'll try our best to produce some content that you guys care about a little bit more. Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff.
Okay, on with the show.
On with the show. When's the last time you saw somebody juggle?
Oh my god, I don't think I've seen somebody juggle in a long time.
I've seen some. I think the last time was maybe 3 months ago. I saw somebody busking along Orchard.
Nice.
It was an Asian guy actually. He was juggling with clubs and all that.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so he was
So
kind
yeah,
of
it was
professional.
actual performance. He was pretty good. But I mean, okay, so would you be impressed? How many times is the maximum times that somebody can juggle and you still being impressed?
I think one.
Well,
After
exactly,
you
right.
walk past them and you're just oh, that's kind of cool, and then you
So
walk
it's
past them again and you're like, no.
It's
no.
like a one-off
It's
party trick. It's
that's it. That's all.
It's like somebody at every party he juggles once, and then he manages to impress you for the first time, but then the subsequent 20 times you're like, please stop.
No, it's people with one magic trick, right? It's
Yeah.
okay, you can remove your thumb. I get it. That's cool. 10
That
years
was
ago, that
cool
was
the
nice.
first time you saw it. That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
you get the idea, right? So getting the juggling thing, right, the only way to make it more interesting as a juggler, right, is to get more and more dangerous, right? Because, I mean, as a juggler, the only way you entertain people is through excitement and through amazement, right?
Sure.
So, the first time you see somebody juggle, okay, cool, you're juggling 3 balls, and then you juggle 4 balls, wow, you juggle 5, wow, but it stops there. So the only way to make it more interesting is to go heavier and to go more dangerous. That's where the knife juggling, the chainsaw juggling, the bowling ball juggling, and all that sort of nonsense dangerous juggling comes in.
Do people actually do chainsaw juggling?
Yeah, it's a legitimate thing. It's not just in the movies.
Okay,
So I was looking up these forms of juggling related accidents. It's just a random thought,
That's a morbid thought progression. It's just I wonder how many people have gotten
I
injured.
okay, so how it kind of happened was I was watching all those fail videos, those people doing parkour and all that kind of shit, and then they run into walls, they fall off on their butt on some. That's the whole 21st century for you.
That's
Watching little kids fall off their bicycles, banging into trees, running and tripping, and dog fail videos. The dogs rolling down the staircase.
Oh yeah, no, and the
skip.
penguins also. The penguins falling down.
People just like to watch shit get injured.
Yeah.
So I was looking up on these juggling related accidents. So surprisingly, I couldn't really find much,
No way. If
Yeah.
you're juggling chainsaws, there has to be at least somebody who's died.
So because there are a lot of amateur jugglers, people who juggle for fun. So you do get the occasional bruise because you're looking up at all times, right, to see your clubs.
Yeah.
So sometimes the club lands on your head, and I saw this one picture of this guy with a giant bruise on his forehead.
Oh shit, was
It's
it
like
a bowling ball?
No, it was not. I'll get into that later.
Okay.
So you're just juggling clubs, and then he lost his grip or something, and one of the clubs hit him in the head. So I mean, it's that kind of thing lah. And some people getting cut from juggling knives, and actually it's more common for the audience to get injured. There was this one incident that I read about. It was this dude, he was juggling knives,
Yeah.
and then mid juggle, when he was throwing the knives in the air, right, the power went out. So
oh shit.
he couldn't see the knives, but a second later he heard somebody yelling ouch.
Oh crap. Was it bad though?
I assume it was pretty bad. They didn't elaborate, but I guess nobody died. So
Okay,
you know,
so I guess it couldn't have been that.
it couldn't have been that bad. Yeah. So I mean, another one was like you said, bowling balls.
Okay.
So this guy who was juggling bowling balls, right, managed to ricochet 2 bowling balls mid-air. So he must have misjudged it though. So
Okay.
one of the bowling balls landed on his head, and he was like concussed.
Oh.
And he was quite a famous juggler. So the article had this line: "He was never the same after the accident."
You don't
I
say.
mean, nobody will remain the same after getting hit in the face with a bowling ball, I
Oh
guess.
my gosh.
But okay, so for injuries, it's because of repetition and strain. Because as a juggler, if you're practicing the art, right, so your wrist gets a lot of damage, your neck gets a lot of damage because you're looking up.
Okay.
So those professional jugglers and jugglers who are at like the master level, they have a lot of injuries to their neck and to their wrist. So I mean, that was as bad as it got. So then I went into the section of death, and I was prepared to be amazed. Like somebody threw a knife and then it
Sliced his
slit.
throat.
No, it jammed right into his eye, or his head.
Oh.
The chainsaw decapitated someone or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was nothing like that.
What?
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So I forgot to mention. I guess there are burns also. A lot of burns, but burns is kind of standard because jugglers juggle torches as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes they catch the torch on the wrong end, so they catch the fire end instead of the. I mean, it happens, but yeah. Okay, moving on to the death.
Yeah, you're really invested in this.
What
death.
everybody has been
Yes.
waiting for. So I was not impressed. There was nothing interesting. There was nothing like series worthy. You know, nobody's gonna make a series around any of these incidents.
That's so disappointing. I was hoping for something like, you know, you juggle cats and then the cat like scratches you and then you get rabies and then you start
You die
killing people
rabies.
and then you yeah.
Interestingly enough, that was the first recorded case, or the most notable case, right? Was in 1931. It actually happened like somewhat like how you described. So you know how jugglers they have these mouth sticks to balance things.
Oh yes.
So they balance something in their mouth while they juggle,
Yeah.
and then sometimes they toss that thing into the
Yeah.
juggle and they continue juggling. So this guy called Enrico Rostelli, his mouth stick cut his mouth, and he died of that.
Oh shit.
The cut got infected. I guess in 1931, you know,
Yeah.
the
you probably
medicine
don't have-
hadn't caught up yet,
Yeah.
so that one infection killed him. And I was like, okay,
That's
maybe
so lame.
it gets better further down the list, you know.
Okay, I'm
So I
ready
went
for
down the
later.
list and it got worse.
Oh no.
So in 1955, there's this guy called Charlie Parker. He wasn't even a juggler. He was a famous saxophonist and composer in the 1950s.
Sure.
So guess how his juggling related death occurred?
I don't know.
Okay, so he was watching a South African actually juggling act by the Pirio brothers. They were quite a popular group back then. And he found it so amusing that he laughed to his death. He laughed into a choke and then he
He
died.
laughed to death.
He laughed into a choke and he
He
died.
laughed to death.
So I was getting quite disappointed. I was like, okay.
No. He laughed to death.
I mean,
Stupidest. Can you imagine on his tombstone? It will read, at least he found it funny.
this was Charlie Parker, master saxophonist, greatest composer. He laughed to death. It's
Died with
it's
a
quite
smile.
it's quite a good way to go, I guess. I mean, there are much worse ways to go. But I mean, this kind of thing happens, like, you know, people get tickled to death and all that kind of things. So, but okay,
so
then
screwed
I was
up.
like, should I just close this article and, you know, should I just move on? And then the last and sort of most recent death was the kind of like savior in a way. This in 2001. So it was
Right.
just 17 years ago. Not
Sure.
a couple, I guess. This college student, he was probably an amateur juggler, decided one day he would juggle grenades in front of his friends.
Fuck.
So as
Okay.
he was juggling the grenades, he accidentally set one of them off.
Oh.
And the grenade detonated and
snap.
killed him and injured 6 of his friends.
Oh my god. What? Only injured them?
I guess if they were standing far back enough, I guess if you were in the right mind, would you even be present to watch your friend juggle grenades?
That's
I
true.
wouldn't.
No,
I'll be like, I'll be watching, maybe standing 100 meters away behind this tree.
No, I just text my friends, be like, hey, video can send me
So overall, yeah, I was like, juggling is kind of disappointing, you know. And then it happened, you know, the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
So what can you think of that makes juggling like one step higher?
Juggling babies.
Juggling babies. I'm pretty sure it happened before, you know, when the laws of safety weren't that high. Maybe in the 1900s. So I found the most amazing and interesting form of juggling
Okay.
is an aggressive combat juggling.
Combat juggling.
I know it sounds crazy, right? So that what they hype it up to be, right, is like a kind of like a martial art cum juggling kind of fusion.
So you fight each other with.
So you kind of fight each other with while juggling, but okay. So basically, it's kind of like football. So there's not that much physical contact. You cannot physically injure somebody. You cannot push them, but you can kind of use your body to block them.
Okay,
and
sure.
you can attack them physically, but using club to club only. So you can use your club to hit their clubs.
Right.
If you can't picture it, you have to go and see it. It is really.
Wait. So what's the goal of combat juggling?
So the goal of combat juggling, right, is to basically be the last one juggling. As in, okay, so there are multiple formats of the game. See, you broke my chain of thought.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So let's start back on the top how this whole combat juggling thing works. So basically, it starts off with just two people juggling. Yes, it's mundane and it's kind of boring.
Okay.
But these two people start approaching each other, and then as they approach each other closer and closer, they start juggling their clubs higher. Because if you juggle your clubs higher, right, you have more time to react. So as they juggle their clubs higher, they start swinging their clubs at each other's clubs. So when you knock somebody's club and his hand goes out of position, right, he might not be able to catch his returning club.
Okay.
And he might not be able to toss the club that you've knocked in his hand into the air.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting thing. It's quite a strategic thing also. So when you throw the club high into the air, right, sometimes it goes out of position. So somebody can use their body to block you from retrieving that club.
Mm-hmm.
So it obviously gets more complex than that. So when your opponent throws that club into the air, you can actually take his club. So sometimes when things get too messy, right, they actually trade clubs. So the clubs are always color coded. So you can always tell whose club is whose club. So sometimes people will be juggling two of their own red clubs and one like green club from the opponent.
Do you win points for that?
No, you don't win any points.
Damn.
The main goal of a 1v1 combat juggling is to be the last one with three clubs. You have to be juggling them, like you can't be holding all of them.
Okay.
So you can technically win with 4 clubs, you can win with more than 4 clubs, but you have to be really good, and at the professional level, you don't run into opponents who will let you take 2 clubs from them. Usually you can take 1.
Okay.
So that's where things get interesting, right? They can have group battles, you know, or free-for-alls.
No way.
So in a free-for-all, that's where like true juggling skills come into hand, because you can actually pick off the weaker people, and then you can collect like multiple clubs. So in the game, you can be like juggling 5 clubs, like 2 stolen clubs from other people and like 3 of your own, that kind of scenarios. And obviously the same as it goes for free for all, the main goal is just to be the last one standing. So it's really messy and it's really like kind of crazy. So they have a lot of these game modes as well. You know, it's kind of like you know those battle royales like PlayerUnknown's Battleground.
Yeah.
But instead of killing people, you're just out juggling people, that kind of thing. So like as those games go, right, they have all these kind of funny variants of the games. So they have this very interesting one I read about as well, as a zombie combat juggling.
Wait, what?
I know, right? It sounds crazy, but I thought it was kind of dumb. I thought it was gonna be like kind of lame, but it's actually kind of like freeze tag, just that involves juggling.
Right.
So it's really cool. Okay, so everybody starts off with 3 clubs, and when your club gets stolen or when you lose a club, right, you become a zombie. So with 2 clubs, you have to stay in position, but you can still attack people as they pass you by.
Oh my god, that's so interesting.
When they pass you, and you can attack them when they pass you by, and if one of your teammates and one of your friends, right, has 4 clubs, he can throw you a club, and
then
you
you're
get unzombified, so you're back in the game. Then you can lose 2 clubs, and then so you have 1 club on hand. So a person with 1 club on hand is a zombie, but he cannot attack. He has to stay in position as well. Then if you lose that final club, or if you lose all your clubs, then you're out of the game. You have to leave the playing field. So I mean, it's quite interesting when I thought about it.
It is.
And I think it will be quite a glorious match to watch.
I can't imagine it as a team sport though. In the end, you're still battling against your teammates.
No.
Right?
In the zombie version, you're playing as a team. It's like maybe say 5 versus 5, 10 versus 10 kind of scenario. So what you're trying to do is just like zombify the whole enemy team or get off them out, that kind of thing.
Okay. When you're talking about that, I was thinking along the lines of like freeze or not, where you just have like one guy who's like
The
freezing
catcher,
everybody.
that kind of thing. So anybody who hasn't seen it really needs to go and take a look. It's really the most amazing thing you ever see. But curiously, it hasn't really picked off yet.
So where is it popular?
So it's very popular in like basically the West, like Europe and America.
Basically places where people have too much time.
I guess it's the kind of thing that if you yourself are not a juggler, right, you wouldn't be as interested. It's kind of like ease of entry into the sport, you know?
But that's not a fair statement, because remember when everybody was into that wooden thing that you catch the ball on?
Oh goodness, I used to know what it was called. There was
a phase where everybody was into it, and then everyone started getting into like yo-yos and stuff. So I think that the barrier to entry is not that high if you really wanted to, because I mean, really balls and like clubs are not that expensive. So if you wanted
no,
to,
I think the jugglers are back to differ. The clubs are not cheap.
I mean, buy the cheap ass ones, right? I mean, go to like
start juggling bowling pins. Go to a local alley near you.
Do not try the bowling balls.
You're encouraging them to steal the clubs but not try the bowling balls. Oh, I didn't know this program.
We do not condone stealing. Borrowing is okay. But yeah, like I think the main issue probably is that just people don't know about it, right? It's not like a...
Hence the reason why it's called Nobody Cares.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have selected anything lesser.
It'd be really cool if like there turned out to be some sort of a combat juggling society over here.
I'm pretty sure there is, but I guess it's not a big thing enough.
No, a lot of these things are very underground.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really care to invite more people in. There comes a point, it's like...
You're embarrassed to ask, do you want to come for mine? Never mind.
It's so cool though. I'd be like, hell yes.
I mean, but okay, you have to think about it. If you were just... I mean, this whole conversation that we just had was like a 20-minute long conversation to explain to you what combat juggling is. Imagine this poor fella who's into this sport has to go through that every single time he meets somebody and wants to introduce somebody to the sport. And then even after the 20 minutes, you're still wondering,
I really?
I can't really juggle,
Yeah, no, I think that's the main problem. Like, you need a basic level. It's
exactly,
like,
so you need 2 skills instead of 1, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You need to be able to juggle and you need to be quite nimble and strategic to play the game. It's kind of like frisbee, but frisbee is easier to get into because even a novice can throw a frisbee, but a novice cannot juggle and cannot play the sport just from the get-go,
Speaking of like sports clubs that are quite like niche, right? Do you know that Singapore actually has a pro wrestling championship?
Yeah, they have their own circuit.
They have their own circuit in Singapore, and
so a funny thing is that my ex-girlfriend, first date that she went on was actually with one of the wrestlers.
No
So
way.
she says they're not... I mean, now currently, if you're not familiar with the Singapore pro wrestling scene, you're thinking of like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, this massive Asian dude would come on and he's like, I'm gonna smash you, dude. I'm gonna do this like special secret move on you.
So are they not massive?
I'm gonna do the char kway teow on you.
The
you know?
char kway teow.
to flatten you and...
Isn't that the roti prata? Gosh.
I guess you'll make a better wrestler than me. So she said it was nothing like that. It was this really, really small sized dude. He was like, I guess he was kind of fit, he was kind of like buff, but he was not like The Rock. I guess I'm bashing on him. Like Bruce Lee wasn't that big size as well, but he was like a badass,
Yeah, Bruce Lee was
so
pretty
yeah,
badass.
he was kind of like that, but he was much shorter, I guess.
Damn, did he at least have like the spandex?
Yeah, like he wore that on his first date for sure.
It's like, check out what I got. Oh my god, that reminds me of that commercial, the kitchen's over there. You don't remember?
Oh no, what was that a commercial for?
I can't remember. It was like
That was the best.
Stop or something.
Yeah, that was the best. I remember that now.
I only remember. Okay, now I'm picturing this guy as like
basically
the
that
pro
was successful marketing. That was good marketing.
that was good.
The only
marketing.
downside is you can't remember what they were marketing.
So not very successful marketing after all. Actually, I got into that because I was talking to my friend Chris. So I interviewed Chris in a previous episode that I did, but he is very into women's pro wrestling. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but also too mainstream for this podcast. So I was just reading up about other kinds of wrestling. So there's the actual wrestling, the ones that aren't staged. So pro wrestling is
The
when
kind of
the
as
match is...
all the white people put it as the gay version of wrestling.
What's the gay version of wrestling?
Isn't that it? So the it's the kind of thing that like Logan Paul did. It's like very physical. You just like are hugging another dude and then you're trying to knock him down.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
no, like there's a lot of like
of-
physical
of,
contact.
like locks
right?
and like trying to like grapple the guy to the ground.
It's basically American football but one-on-one. I'm sorry everybody who loves American football. So in the UK, they also have their fair share of interesting wrestling sports, but for them it's much tamer in a sense that they don't do like proper wrestling. So there are these events like that pop up sporadically in like different like small towns. So the background is that the UK has a lot of these like little like shanty towns or like Oxfordshire or like small areas that
It's
want
like communities where everybody knows each other.
yes, but then because they're pretty small, they don't get a lot of traffic from the outside, right? So a lot of these like little places, right, they try to market their towns by like the unique characteristics of that area, or like if they produce something. So for example, if like I make a certain type of cheese, it's like an amazing like cheese, then I'm gonna like market that. It's like, oh, the world's best, I don't know, cheddar or something, and then you try to attract people. So some towns don't have that, right?
You don't have a
So
cheese.
they don't have the cheese, unfortunately. So they try to like market themselves based on like festivals or like interesting events that happen within the town. So obviously like the big ones would be like Leeds, right? Leeds has that mega music festival that happens every year. Or like you go to
Basically, it's like hosting
like
hosting
so
something.
Edinburgh has like its fringe festival for all the comedy events. So that's the way of attracting lots and lots of tourists. But if you're not a big city, then you can't really afford that kind of a budget, right? So what do? You organize a stupid competition about a dumb sport that nobody else would have thought of doing. So in Lowestoft in Suffolk, they have the World Thumb Wrestling Championships. So you
It's
know
actually a
our Pepsi Cola 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a legit championship, and the way they market it is incredible. So they're all
But
like,
by putting the word world in front, that means people from all over the world come over.
and exactly, so they're like, oh, you know, we have people from China and we've got people from Indonesia.
So it's like FIFA, but
It's like FIFA but thumb wrestling. So it sounds really impressive, right? So they're like, in 2013, the UK champion was for the first time unseated by an American. And then you're like, whoa, this is so cool. And then, like for this year, on the website, it says, more than 20 people are competing for the title. And you're like, oh, is that kind of
is there
a
like
world
a
championship?
a qualifying round where like maybe they play thumb wrestling like over
their
Skype or
hometown.
something. Over
Over
Skype or
Skype.
something. You put your thumb in front of the camera and you're like, oh, you got me, dude.
No, this is for like, you know
The
how...
qualifiers, you know? Stepping up to the...
That could be like maybe there's like thousands of people and then it filters down. And this is how Xbox Kinects are being used these days after they went out of fashion. It's like, oh wow,
They're
maybe we should
modified
just...
for thumb wrestling.
Yeah, so it's really funny because it's actually a very simple idea. So I've seen like pictures of the championships, right? What they do is they set up these marquees and then they take out like a wooden table.
Where you just
And
put
then,
your hands
yeah,
down.
people sit down and they have like this tiny stand that you hold. So there's an actual ring that they have. So it's a small square of wood and then it's got 2 holes at the base.
For your hand to slot in, is it?
Yeah, so your thumbs can slip in. And then beneath the wooden board there is a little round pole. So both of you grip onto that.
Oh, so it's not like our version or our local version.
Yeah,
of
so
the
you
thing where
don't hook
grip.
hands, you just hold on to that pole.
Ah.
And then around your thumbs there's this cute little like actual ring. So they've got like the tiny little like bands around it. I mean, it's quite cute. And it's very, very
But
basic.
wouldn't that look really weird? Like, so from the top you just see 2 thumbs and a tiny ring and then
Yeah.
they're just getting at it, that kind of thing.
So it like the pictures look really funny because you'll have like those small little tentages, right? And then you have one table and then you have the 2 people and then you have like a crowd of maybe like And it's 10 people standing around them, and then they
They
look
should-
really
They
excited.
should force the spectators to use their thumbs to spectate as well.
You know, funnily enough, there was actually a TV show about thumb wrestling on Cartoon Network and on the children's version of BBC. So it's exactly what you just suggested, where, like, so, okay, basically,
Wait, spectating thumbs?
yes, with spectating thumbs. So this show was called Thumb Wrestling Federation, and it was created, I think, in the early 2000s to kind of like mimic WWE, but it was meant for kids, because obviously your parents, I mean, our parents never let us watch WWE, right?
Yeah.
So
You
like,
never even had the channel.
exactly, because I mean, it's violent and like it's not something you want your kids to be consuming at that age, right? But when you see thumb wrestling, it seems a little bit more tame. It's like something that all kids play in school anyway, so it's very relatable. And then you get the same hype from all the like the backstories and the trash talking and
Backstory
everything.
for thumbs?
Yes. So this TV show is basically a live action show, meaning that these were actual people's thumbs, and then they stuck like googly eyes on them, and so you can tell it's like super low rent. Like the costumes are just little like felt things
But-
that they like sewed on, and then
But at least they
they
need
stuck
half
them.
the actors.
They only need half
They
the actors.
only need half of the
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah, so they would have the costumes, the mask. So it was more like, what do they call that? The Mexican lucha libre.
Ah.
So they had like the masks and everything. They had the proper gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proper gear for a thumb.
So you'll have two like thumb commentators. There's two teams competing against each other throughout the entire like 5 seasons of this show. It ran for 5 freaking seasons on Cartoon
my
Network,
goodness.
okay?
So I guess, yeah, parents would like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's cute and like, I mean, it's so harmless. I just don't understand how they can produce. It used to be like 5-minute segments, but apparently it was so popular that they extended it to
It's-
like a full
It's all the
length
parents
TV
forcing
show.
their kids to watch, you know.
It must be.
You don't watch WWE, sit here and watch this now.
Yeah, you watch this, and you know, mom and dad will be in the other room watching the real sport. So yeah, the commentators would come out and they would tell you this character, like, I don't know, they probably didn't sleep with each other's wives, but you know, something like maybe, yeah, they like stole the wife's nail polish or some shit like that. So
Those cute meme punny backstories.
yes, probably super punny. I can't remember
You
them off the
stole
top
my
of my head.
thumbtack.
Something ridiculous like that. So at the start of every match, right, after like the commentators introduce you to the segment, then each competitor will come out. And then when he comes out, there's that whole like parade that goes on at WWE.
And you high five everybody. the
So he comes
stands.
into the ring, and then the fans are all cheering, but all the fans are like thumbs.
Thumbs.
So they're like, yay! And it looks super ridiculous. And then like they produce like this stat sheet. So they'll tell you like, oh, his dexterity is here, his agility, all that rubbish. Like, so then you kind of like, the kids get very into it because like you think, okay, like maybe it's like Pokemon, right? This character has this certain like traits, and there's his like signature move is this, and then you end up rooting for one side or the other,
character.
and then yeah, at the end of each like half an hour episode, there is a winner that emerges, but you never know till like the end of the entire season.
But do they actually play? Are they actually
They
playing?
actually
it's
fight.
like
So it's not like how we know thumb wrestling to be. For them, it's like they'll actually
just
like,
3 times bumping into each
yes,
other.
they'll be bumping into each other. So they're like trying to emulate the moves of WWE stars,
just
but
with thumbs.
with thumbs. So like they use their other digits as like other limbs, which it makes no sense at all. I mean, again, it's one of those things where
Which is the kind
after
of
you
thing that people like on all these channels. Like my favorite show from the channels back then was like Invader Zim or something. That didn't make any sense.
oh no, that was so dark. No, this is purely wholesome thumb action.
Thumb goodness.
Yeah. No, that sounds really wrong on many levels, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so it didn't make sense, and like it was very cringy, like so cringy. I think what really boggles my mind is the fact that it could last for so many
So many
seasons.
years, right?
Yeah.
But I assume as well it wouldn't work in like our current day and age.
yeah, I
Because
think
the
kids.
current format of TV is too advanced already. People are all into the Marvel and all that kind of thing, even at a young age.
I guess the attraction for kids is that they can do it at home. So midway through, I think probably in their third season, they teamed up with Toys R Us to create a whole like merchandise line. So
the costumes for your thumbs, is it?
yeah, they sold the costumes, the masks, as well as the stats cards. For, you know how baseball cards, like they'll give
Not
you
even
like, the
baseball.
stats.
WWE had a very, very
Oh
popular
yes,
card game
yes,
and stuff.
yes. So they did exactly that, but the thumb version, and so kids could like dress their own thumbs up and do it at home. So I think people really got into that. So it was a really like cute idea, although it was like dumb as shit. But then again, we played with Mighty Beans when we were kids, so
Mighty Beans was good shit, okay? One of the beans I have now is worth like $400, but I can't find it, that's the problem.
the freak, why? That's such a waste. My gosh.
I had the Mighty Moose. I can't remember my number, something like 868 or something.
Oh yeah.
Something good. Interestingly enough, there was a Magic the Gathering card. So like this very, very good friend, I mean he's still my very, very good friend, Jenon, he gave me this, you know those foil shiny cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gave me one card for my birthday. It was like he just lucked out and got it. And it was worth like maybe $4, $5. Now it's worth like 150.
No.
I still have
amazing.
that. I still have that on me right now.
If you sell it, you should give him at least like.
Give it at least half.
I was gonna say at least $6.
For the initial investment, is it?
Yeah. So back to thumb wrestling, right? So I was reading up about the thumb wrestling championships that were happening in the UK, and then I went on to like look at other competitions that, because the thumb wrestling championship is so easy to organize, right? You literally don't need anything. You just need the tents. You don't even need to, and you get people to sign up for really cheap as well. So I think they charge £5 for you to sign up and be part of it. But then like the publicity that the town gets every year is like really high, because you just have to like feature some new guy who's like from America who like came in.
I won't be surprised that like Americans love this kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Thousands and thousands of people will flock over and they'll be like, whoa.
It's like, wow, look at this great thing that other white people are doing with their time. It's always white people who do this kind of shit. So in fact, I think this year they managed to team up with one of the telcos to like, so they were saying that, you know, you have to make it easy to swipe on your phone so that you don't injure your thumbs. So there was some sort of an ad campaign to do with them. So they were getting good money from just a very simple.
I guess it's like a, kind of like maybe an arm and coming thing. Because you know, like even arm wrestling is quite a decent deal. It's like obviously not at the level of any of the main sports, but arm wrestling is like actually a thing as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess arm wrestling.
I guess it's really like a tiers and stages. So the first tier is like actual wrestling, and the second tier is like arm wrestling, and the third tier is thumb wrestling.
Wait till you hear about toe wrestling. It's a thing in a different county in like
different
UK
universe.
somewhere. No, legit.
Really?
It actually
It
happens.
actually exists.
Yeah.
How's that game played? Do you know?
You just like, so it's a bit more physical than thumb wrestling. So you have to like push them out.
Using
But,
so it's
it's
foot
interlocking.
wrestling.
Yeah, it's more like, yeah, your toes are interlocking.
Ah, okay.
And
So it
yeah.
really is foot wrestling, lah. You're just trying to.
I don't know the exact rules
Can't
though,
really
because I was
picture
just.
that, but that's pretty awesome.
It,
I was
just
so
found it
sure that
so-
didn't exist.
It does. Google it, toe wrestling. It's not a very entertaining thing, because I lost interest very fast. And then I moved on to like other very weird competitions. So there's the World Wife Carrying Championships in Finland. And it happens every year. It's very interesting. So
This is a fireman lift your wife or something.
No, the way that they carry the women is really
Oh,
weird.
it's like swimming. There's different categories, so you can have like, there's a mermaid carrying, there's a fireman.
Mermaid carrying would be hard. So they all have a standardized way. I don't know if it's in the rules or if it's because it's the most efficient way of carrying it. But basically, your wife will be like
over your shoulder, is it?
so her face is facing your butt, and then she's like hung over your back, and then her legs are hooked around your neck. So you would see her feet in front of you, and then
So you're
can you
you're
imagine
wearing
that?
your wife like a backpack.
You're wearing your wife like a backpack, basically. Yeah. So you have to go through like an obstacle course, and then there's like a water element, so the wife is wearing a helmet, and then like she's kind of propping her head up so that you don't splash like water up her nose. And it's just it's extraordinary. But I think the funny thing is that it's actually a misnomer, because you're not actually carrying, like, you can carry a wife, but you can also carry like just anybody, like any woman. It comes from the
part of the rules, you can carry any woman.
It was apparently rooted in the tradition of stealing other people's women. So how like they used to go to other villages and then raid the towns, plunder and pillage and whatnot. So usually you would also steal the women back and take them as your wives, right? That's why it was wife carrying, because you're carrying your future wife.
Run as fast as you can with the best one.
Yeah, exactly. But these people are really athletic, so
it's not easy. Not easy.
I mean, to carry a full person and to do obstacles, so they have to like hop over like hurdles and stuff, and like only white people would do this sort of thing. Yeah.
Only skinny wives would win this.
Only skinny wives, yeah. So that was weird, but the thing that I found the cutest was the World Poo Sticks Championships.
Oh goodness, that sounds...
Like, you're looking at me like it's really disgusting, but it's not. It's Pooh with a P-O-O-H, as in Pooh Bear. Did you not read Pooh Bear when you were young?
No, I did not. I only watched the cartoon.
Dang. So you must have seen Pooh Sticks, right?
Pooh Sticks? No.
So Christopher Robin and the Pooh Bear friends, like they have this game that they play on the bridge. So what they do is they'll stand on one side.
Water, is it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
They'll stand on one side of the bridge, and then they drop their sticks in, and then they run to the other side of the bridge, and they look down and they see whose stick comes out first. So there was this one random guy who was also see, all the strange things come from the UK. He was just a random dude, and then he was like walking along in his town, and then he saw these kids playing poo sticks, and he was like, that's a great way to make money. But okay, I should qualify that was for a good cause. So he supported the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. So what they do is they rescue people off the shores of the UK, because I mean it's an island, right? So there's always people who might be like drowning or like stranded or like the shipwrecks or whatever. So he decided that it would be a great way to like raise funds within his town. So he was like, okay, let's all get together and we can have an actual poo stick tournament.
So again, it's like a small town hosting event for tourism, is it?
It didn't start out as a tourism thing. I think he just really wanted to raise funds within his town. But it was very interesting because I think kids got so into it, because there's no age restriction or anything.
There's a very low skill.
No skill required. Maybe the skill would be like picking a stick that actually floats, So it was so popular that by I think this year you have something like 1,000 people who attend the event.
Wow, that's quite a big number. That's
it's
like
insane.
What, thumb wrestling numbers.
I'm pretty sure it's way off the charts for thumb wrestling. What's incredible is that because you literally don't need anything, right? Like, to attract these people here, you bring them out on like a picnic and everything, and at the end of it you earn like about £3,000. I think that's a really, really easy way to raise money. And
it's a fun way to raise money.
It's a very fun way as well. When I first read about it, I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Like, why are people so lame? And it's such a waste of resources. And then I realized that there's really no marketing involved. It's just a bunch of like people in the town who really just want to get together. And I thought, oh shit, I'm such a hater. Why can't we do something like that? Like, I would love to. We have a longkang
with a bridge just outside our house, right? You know that, right?
What kind of a competition would you create if, let's say, you wanted to promote Sengkang?
I'm pretty sure promote Sengkang. I'm pretty sure every dumb thing you can think of has been done before. Right? There's like crazy things like the paper airplane competition.
Really?
And yeah, that's actually quite a big deal, I think.
Egg dropping.
I'm pretty sure egg dropping is a really big thing in America, right?
Really?
Yeah, because every single science assignment, right?
Oh, they always have that.
Do like who makes the best egg dropping thing out of like the minimum equipment.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the literal pool sticks, but I'm pretty sure that has been done before. So
I'm pretty sure that would have been banned.
Or you merge the both of them together, so you squat at the bridge and you pull, and then you see whose pool floats the best. Poo sticks.
No, it will be like...
That's a great name, poo sticks.
Oh my god.
Okay guys, so we'll see you at the next annual poo sticks competition.
Coming to a canal near
Coming
you.
to a longkang near you.
Quite literally, because even if it's in our canal.
You'll get to you eventually. See you guys soon.
Bye-bye.